Unfair labor practice, ULP. Nature aspect. Unfair labor practice refers to acts that violate the worker's right to organize. The prohibited acts are related to the worker's right to self organization and to the observance of a CBA. Without that element, the acts, no matter how unfair, are not unfair labor practices. The only exception is Article 259 F, that is to dismiss, discharge, or otherwise prejudice or discriminate against an employee for having given or being about to give testimony under this code, as decided in Philcom Employees Union versus Phil Global, decided 2006. Nature of ULP. A. Inimical to the legitimate interests of both labor and management, including their right to bargain collectively and otherwise deal with each other in an atmosphere of freedom and mutual respect. B. Disrupt industrial peace. C. Hinder the promotion of healthy and stable labor management relations. D. Violations of the civil rights of both labor and management, but are also criminal offenses, Article 258 of the Labor Code. 4 forms of unfair labor practice in collective bargaining. A. Failure or refusal to meet and convene. B. Evading the mandatory subjects of bargaining. C. Bargaining in bad faith. D. Gross violation of the CBA. Purpose of the policy against ULPs. Protection of right to self-organization and or collective bargaining. A. The employee is not only protected from the employer but also from labor organizations. B. The employer is also protected from ULP committed by a labor organization. The public is also protected because it has an interest in continuing industrial peace. Employer-employee relationship required. General rule. An unfair labor practice may be committed only within the context of an employer-employee relationship. American President Lines versus Clave, decided 1982. Exception, yellow dog condition or contract. To require as a condition of employment that a person or an employee shall not join a labor organization or shall withdraw from one to which he belongs. Article 259B, Labor Code. Parties not stopped from raising ULP by eventual signing of the CBA. The eventual signing of the CBA does not operate to stop the parties from raising unfair labor practice charges against each other. Standard Chartered Bank Union versus Confessor, decided 1994. Statutory construction. The Labor Code does not undertake the impossible task of specifying in precise and unmistakable language each incident which constitutes an unfair labor practice. Rather, it leaves to the court the work of applying the law's general prohibitory language in light of infinite combination of events which may be charged as violative of its terms, as decided in HBC Employee Union or HSBC Employee Union versus NLRC, decided 1997. Note, bargaining in bad faith discussed under 3A on duty to bargain collectively constitutes unfair labor practice, which may be committed by either employer or labor organization. ULP by employers. A. Interference, restraint, or coercion. Unfair labor practices of employers. A. To interfere with, restrain, or coerce employees in the exercise of their right to self-organization. There is no per se test of good faith in bargaining. Good faith or bad faith is an inference to be drawn from the facts. The effect of an employer's or a union's actions individually is not the test of good faith bargaining, but the impact of all such occasions or actions considered as a whole. In this case, the fact that the resignations of the union members occurred during the pendency of the case before the labor arbiter shows GMC's desperate attempts to cast doubt on the legitimate status of the union. The ill-timed letters of resignation from the union members indicate that GMC had interfered with the right of its employees to self-organization. General Milling Corporation versus Court of Appeals, decided 2004. Interrogation. General rule. Employer may interrogate its employees regarding their union affiliation for legitimate purposes and with the assurance that no reprisals would be taken against the unionists. Exception when interrogation interferes with or restrains employees' right to self-organization, as decided in Philippine Steam Navigation Company versus Philippine Marine Officers Guild, decided 1965. Note, the interrogation of the ER shouldn't be persistent and or hostile. Speech. The acts of a company which subjects a union to vilification in its participation in soliciting membership for a competing union are also acts constituting a ULP. Philippine Steam Navigation Company versus Philippine Marine Officers Guild, decided 1965. Any employer may not send letters containing promises or benefits, nor of threats of obtaining replacements to individual workers while the employers are on strike due to a bargaining deadlock. This is tantamount to interference and is not protected by the Constitution as free speech. Insular Life Assurance Company Employees Association versus Insular Life Assurance Company Limited, decided 1971. Espionage. Espionage and or surveillance by the employer of union activities are instances of interference, restraint or coercion of employees in connection with their right to organize, form, and join unions as to constitute unfair labor practice. The information obtained by means of espionage is invaluable to the employer and can be used in a variety of cases to break a union. Insular Life Assurance Company Employees Association versus Insular Life Assurance Company, decided 1971. Concerted activities. The mass demonstration and stoppage of work of the union is not ULP. They didn't demonstrate against the employer, but against the Pasig police for alleged human rights abuses. This is merely an exercise of their freedom of expression, assembly, and right to redress of grievances enshrined in the Constitution. Philippine Blooming Mills Employment Organization versus Philippine Blooming Mills Company, decided 1973. Yellow Dog Contracts, Article 259, Unfair Labor Practices of Employers. B. To require as a condition of employment that a person or an employee shall not join a labor organization or shall withdraw from one to which he belongs. Yellow Dog contracts require as a condition of employment that a person or an employee shall not join a labor organization or shall withdraw from one to which he belongs. Requisites of a Yellow Dog contract. 1. A representation by the employee that he is not a member of a labor organization. 2. A promise by the employee that he will not join a union. 3. A promise by the employee that upon joining labor organization, he will quit his employment. C. Contracting out of discourage unionism. Article 259, Unfair Labor Practices of Employers. C. To contract out services or functions being performed by union members when such will interfere with, restrain, or coerce employees in the exercise of their right to self-organization. General rule. Contracting out is not ULP, but it is covered by the employer's management prerogative. Exception Article 259C. 1. Contracted out services or functions are performed by union members, and 2. Contracting out will interfere with, restrain, or coerce employees in the exercise of their right to self-organization. D. Company union. Article 259, Unfair Labor Practices of Employers. D. To initiate, dominate, assist, or otherwise interfere with the formation or administration of any labor organization, including the giving of financial or other support to its organizers or supporters. Company union means any labor organization whose formation, function, or administration has been assisted by any act defined by unfair labor practice by this code. Article 219I. The employer commits ULP if it initiates, dominates, or otherwise interferes with the formation or administration of any labor organization. Example, giving out financial aid to any union supporters or organizers. C. Discrimination to encourage or discourage unionism. Article 259E. General rule. It is ULP to discriminate in regard to wages, hours of work, and other terms and conditions of employment in order to encourage or discourage membership in any labor organization. Exception, union security clauses. Union security clauses. Union security is a generic term which is applied to and comprehends closed shop, union shop, maintenance of membership, or any other form of agreement which imposes upon employees the obligation to acquire or retain union membership as a condition affecting employment. No Warren versus NLRC, decided 2008. Union security clause is an indirect restriction on the right of an employee to self-organization. It is a solemn pronouncement of a policy that while an employee is given the right to join a labor organization, such right should only be asserted in a manner that will not spell the destruction of the same organization. Tanduay Distillery Labor Union versus NLRC, decided 1987. Employees, although entitled to disaffiliation from their union to form a new organization of their own, must, however, suffer the consequences of their separation from the union under the security clause of the CBA. Villar versus Insiong, decided 1983. Statutory basis and rationale. Article 259E. Unfair labor practices of employers. Nothing in this code or in any other law shall stop the parties from requiring membership in a recognized collective bargaining agent as a condition for employment, except those employees who are already members of another union at the time of the signing of the collective bargaining agreement. The law has allowed stipulations for union shop and closed shop as a means of encouraging workers to join and support the union of their choice in the protection of their rights and interests vis-a-vis the employer. Del Monte Philippines versus Salvidar, decided 2006. Purpose: to safeguard and ensure the existence of the union and thus promote unionism in general as a state policy. It is the policy of the state to promote unionism to enable the workers to negotiate with the management on the same level and with more persuasiveness than if they were to individually and independently bargain for the improvement of their respective conditions. For this reason, the law has sanctioned stipulations for the union shop and closed shop as a means of encouraging the workers to join and support the labor union of their own choice vis-a-vis the employer. Liberty Flour Mills Employees versus Liberty Flour Mills, decided 1989. Coverage: BPI versus BPI Employees Union, Davao Chapter, decided 2010. General rule: all employees in the bargaining unit covered by the Union Security Clause are subject to its terms. Exceptions: 1. Employees who are already members of another union at the time of the signing of the collective bargaining agreement may not be compelled by any union security clause to join any union. Article 254E. 2. Employees already in service at the time the closed shop union security clause took effect. A closed shop provision in a CBA is not to be given a retroactive effect as to preclude its being applied to employees already in service. Guijarno versus CIR, decided 1973. 3. Any employee who at the time the union security clause took effect is a bona fide member of religious organization which prohibits its members from joining labor unions on religious grounds. Reyes versus Trajano, decided 1992. Confidential employees who are excluded from the rank and file bargaining unit. 5. Employees excluded from the union security provisions by express terms of the agreement. Types of union security clause. 1. Closed shop. Condition for employment. An agreement where only union members may be employed and for the duration of the agreement remains a member in good standing of a union. A closed shop may be defined as an enterprise in which, by agreement between the employer and his employees or their representatives, no person may be employed in any or certain agreed departments of the enterprise unless he or she is, becomes, and for the duration of the agreement, remains a member in good standing of a union entirely comprised of or of which the employees and interests are a part. General Milling Corporation versus Casio, decided 2010. The closed shop provision is the most prized achievement of unionism. However, it can also be a potent weapon wielded by the union against the workers, whom the union is supposed to protect in the first place. Hence, any doubt as to the existence of a closed shop provision in the CBA will be resolved in favor of the non-existence of the closed shop provision. Azucena. 2. Maintenance of membership shop. Condition for continued employment. An agreement where the present and future employees are not compelled to join the SEBA, but once so joined, they must maintain their membership as a condition for continued employment until they are promoted or transferred out of the bargaining unit or the agreement is terminated. There is maintenance of membership shop when employees who are union members as of the effective date of the agreement or who thereafter become members must maintain union membership as a condition for continued employment until they are promoted or transferred out of the bargaining unit of or the agreement is terminated. General Milling Corporation versus Casio, decided 2010. Number 3, union shop. Condition for continued employment. There is union shop when all new regular employees are required to join the union within a certain period as a condition for their continued employment. General Milling Corporation versus Casio, decided 2010. Non-members may be hired, but to retain employment, they must become union members after a certain period. Non-members may be hired, but to retain employment, they must become union members after a certain period. The requirement applies to present and future employees. 4. Modified union shop. Condition for continued employment of future employees. Employees who are not union members at the time of signing the contract need not join the union, but all workers hired thereafter must join. Agency shop. Employees belonging to an appropriate collective bargaining unit who are not members of the recognized collective bargaining agent may be assessed a reasonable fee, equivalent to the dues and other fees paid by members of the recognized collective bargaining agent. If such non-union members accept the benefits under the collective agreement, provided that the individual authorization required under Article 250, Paragraph O of the Labor Code shall not apply to non-members of the recognized collective bargaining agent. Enforcement of Union Security Clause. Termination due to Union Security Provision. Termination of employment by virtue of a Union Security Clause embodied in a CBA is recognized and accepted in our jurisdiction. This practice strengthens the union and prevents disunity in the bargaining unit within the duration of the CBA by preventing member disaffiliation with the threat of expulsion from the union and the consequent termination of employment. The authorized bargaining representative gains more numbers and strengthens its position as against other unions which may want to claim majority representation. Alabang Country Club versus NLRC, decided 2008. Requisites for the enforcement of union security clauses. In terminating the employment of an employee by enforcing the union security clause, the employer needs only to determine and prove that one, the union security clause is applicable. Two, the union is requesting for the enforcement of the union security provision in the CBA. Three, there is sufficient evidence to support the union's decision to expel the employee from the union. Alabang Country Club versus NLRC, decided 2008. Company must conduct separate investigation or hearing. While company may validly dismiss the employees expelled under the union security clause upon the recommendation by the union, this dismissal should not be done hastily and summarily, thereby eroding the employee's right to due process, self-organization, and security of tenure. The enforcement of union security clauses is authorized by law, provided such enforcement is not characterized by arbitrariness and always with due process. Even if there are valid grounds to expel the union officers, due process requires that these union officers be accorded a separate hearing by the respondent company. Malayang Samahan ng Manggagawa sa M. Greenfield versus Ramos, decided 2000. Requirement of due process. The requirement laid down by the law in determining whether or not an employee was validly terminated must still be followed, even if it is based on a union security clause of a CBA. That is, the substantive as well as the procedural due process requirements. Del Monte versus Saldivar, decided 2006. Obligations and liabilities. Where the employer dismissed his employees in the belief in good faith and that such dismissal was required by the union security provision of the collective bargaining agreement with the union, he may not be ordered to pay back compensations to which employees, although their dismissal is found to be illegal. Confederated Sons of Labor versus Anakan Lumber Company, decided 1960. As dictated by fairness, the union shall be liable to pay their back wages. This is because management would not have taken the action it had it not been for the insistence of the labor union seeking to give effect to its interpretation of a closed shop provision. Guijarno versus CIR, decided 1973. Nothing in this code or in any other law shall stop the parties from requiring membership in a recognized collective bargaining agent as a condition for employment. Nothing in this code or in any other law shall stop the parties from requiring membership in a recognized collective bargaining agent as a condition for employment. Note, dismissals due to USC should still follow the requirements of due process. Discrimination for having given or about to give testimony. 259, Article 259, unfair labor practices of employers. F, to dismiss, discharge, or otherwise prejudice or discriminate against an employee for having given or being about to give testimony. It is an act of ULP by an employer to dismiss, discharge, or otherwise prejudice or discriminate against an employee for having given or being about to give testimony under this code. Note, this is broader than the prohibition under Article 118 because Article 259F covers testimony under the whole code, while Article 118 only covers testimony under Book 1, Pre-Employment Title 2, Wages. Note further, includes not giving testimony. See Azucena. A violation of duty to bargain collectively. Article 259, Unfair Labor Practices of Employers. G. To violate the duty to bargain collectively as prescribed by this code. Duty to bargain collectively is a continuous process, non-compliance of which constitutes ULP. Collective bargaining does not end with the execution of an agreement. Being a continuous process, the duty to bargain necessarily imposes on the practices the obligation to live up to the terms of such collective bargaining agreement if entered into. It is undeniable that non-compliance therewith constitutes an unfair labor practice. Shell Oil Workers Union versus Shell Company, decided 1971. Acts deemed refusal to bargain. 1. Refusal to bargain when there is an unresolved petition for union cancellation. That there is a pending cancellation proceedings against the union is not a bar to set in motion the mechanics of collective bargaining. Unless the union's certificate of registration and status as the certified bargaining agent is revoked, the employer, by express provision of law, is duty-bound to collective bargain with the union. Capital Medical Center versus Trajano, decided 2005. 2. Employer's suspension of operations in order to forestall a demand for collective bargaining. By admitting that the closure of the business was due to irreconcilable differences between the union and the school management, CI in effect admitted that it wanted to end the bargaining deadlock and eliminate the problem dealing with the demands of the union. St. John Colleges Incorporated versus St. John Academy Faculty and Employees Union, decided 2006. 3. Implied refusal. The school is guilty of unfair labor practice when it failed to make a timely reply to the proposals of the union more than 1 month after the same were submitted by the union. In explaining its failure to reply, the school merely offered a feeble excuse that its Board of Trustees had not yet convened to discuss the matter. Clearly, its actuation showed a lack of sincere desire to negotiate. Colegio de San Juan de Letran versus Association of Employees and the Faculty of Letran, decided 2000. Acts not deemed refusal to bargain. Adoption of an adamant bargaining position in good faith, particularly where the company is operating at a loss. 2. Refusal to bargain over demands for commission of unfair labor practices. 3. Refusal to bargain during period of illegal strike. 4. Not initiating the bargaining. 5. Refusal to bargain where the union demands for recognition and bargaining within the year following a certification election and the clear choice is no union and no ad interim significant change has taken place in the unit. 6. Refusal to bargain because the other party is making unlawful bargaining demands and payment of negotiations or attorney's fees. Article 259, Unfair Labor Practices of Employers. H. To pay negotiation or attorney's fees to the union or its officers or agents as part of the settlement of any issue in collective bargaining or any other dispute. Sweetheart contracts are favorable both to the union and the employer at the expense of the employees. The settlement of bargaining issues must be made by fair bargaining in good faith and not through the payment of negotiation or attorney's fees, which will ultimately lead to sweetheart contracts. Violation of a collective bargaining agreement. Article 259, Unfair Labor Practices of Employers. I. To violate a collective bargaining agreement. Flagrant and or malicious refusal to comply with economic provisions required. Article 274. Jurisdiction of a voluntary arbitrator. Accordingly, Violations of a collective bargaining agreement, except those which are gross in character, shall no longer be treated as unfair labor practice and shall be resolved as grievances under the collective bargaining agreement. For purposes of this article, gross violations of collective bargaining agreement shall mean flagrant and or malicious refusal to comply with the economic provisions of such agreement. Violations of collective bargaining agreements, except flagrant and or malicious refusal to comply with its economic provisions, shall not be considered unfair labor practice and shall not be strikable. Book 5, Rule 22, Section 5. Note, the list in Article 259 is not exhaustive. Other acts which are analogous to those enumerated can be ULPs.